Hey guys, it's your girl Sunny D. Welcome to the podcast tonight. Got my sister Nye with me. And I guess the guys will be joining shortly. So I'm gonna go through all the intros and pardon me because if you know me, I don't ever do these that much. So I'm gonna line it up for you guys. Where am I at? Of course, I'm all in the wrong banners. All right, so of course now I'm over here with the loudness. All right, so you already know to catch the whole gang tonight, on Mondays at 10 p.m. You can also catch Hype on the How to Hustle podcast. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. He goes live on our show. And then also the Styles and Chevy recap Wednesdays at 9 p.m. And of course, you guys will see Sex with Sunny this Friday. It's the second show for the month at 6 p.m. Fans Perspective every other Sunday at 9 p.m. I think they're doing every Sunday right now. I'm not necessarily sure. But then you also have the new show, Styles and Dame presents One Crazy Month on Sundays, on the alternate Sundays at 9 p.m. But I think that's on hiatus for right now until the guys wrap up football season. And then Gaming with Styles various times throughout the month. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitch, and what's the other one? YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and all that jazz so you can make sure you don't miss our shows. Alrighty then. Hey guys.
What up, dog?
Well, thank you, Willie.
I know, right?
I can't multitask. Don't do that. I can't multitask.
Sitting here waiting to get tagged in. She just talking.
I don't know. Come on, I can't multitask. Don't do that. It's always smooth.
What's going on, y'all?
I got Nye joining me tonight. She over here.
What's going on, Nye?
What's going on?
I figured this topic was perfect for us. Like, hey, you want to join us tonight?
That's what's up. Yeah. So this topic came up from a TikTok, I believe I watched, where they were talking about Black people who are, people consider them weird, or people consider them awkward, or consider them to be non-relatable to Black culture. And, it was describing, token Blacks, things like that. And in the TikTok, they were, the young lady at the end on her stitch, she was, talking about being indoctrinated and feeling like the stereotypes that are prevalent about Black people, she was being either taught or fed, and she was basically believing it because that's her point of reference, right? Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to discuss that, as well as other scenarios and situations where it comes to, just Black people who either are considered weird or called weird or called different and things like that. Because I think that, it's not only just token Black people who have, in those situations, but there's other situations as well. Definitely have a couple of those examples
right now.
Yeah. So from a point of view of or from a standpoint of the TikTok, I think you guys, I shared the TikTok with you guys, basically talking about indoctrination of Black people in other cultures and other societies, and how, they come back or get introduced to Black culture and may feel out of place. Have you encountered a person like that or people like that? And what was your reaction to them?
So where they didn't feel like they were Black enough or something like that?
Where they might have felt, like I said, unable to relate to the Black experience, unable to relate to what we consider Black culture or what we consider normal in terms of how people react or how people are raised in the Black community.
I've come across that. I was always around Black people in school from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. So 9th grade, instead of going straight to Trenton High, I went out to a school in PA that was predominantly white. I'm talking about, you feel me? It's probably like 12 Black kids in school. So it was like, and I'm one of them. So some of the kids there, some of the black kids there felt awkward. Well, I thought was awkward because this was a learning experience for me, you know, because I was kind of ignorant, like a lot of black people who think black culture is just one thing or come from one place. You feel me? The black culture just isn't rooted in the ghetto. So we got to get out of that mind state too. You know what I mean? Because that was the mind state I was in going to that school. He ain't black enough. He can't relate. And then a couple of them, they felt awkward around me because they thought they talked too white or, you know what I mean, they acted white. And it took, some time there. Like I was there for my ninth grade and part of my 10th grade year. And it was like, nah, you feel me? It's just different experience. We just, you know what I mean? Every black person don't grow up in the hood. There are a lot of middle class black people out here who don't, you know what I mean, who go to school with a whole diverse of ethnicities, you know what I mean? So I don't ever believe like we're not a monolithic. So this notion that black culture is supposed to be something a certain way. First, we gotta define what is black culture. I was having a debate with somebody on Twitter not too long ago. They was like, hip hop is black culture. I was like, it's a subset of black culture, but hip hop isn't black culture in its entirety. It's a subset of it because all black people don't like hip hop. You feel me? All black people don't listen to rap. A lot of black people don't listen to most R&B. You feel me? Like it is what it is. So when we have this discussion, I think first we have to define or come up to with some type of agreement of what is black culture, first of all. And then I also believe like we're never a monolithic group. So, we're all going to be awkward depending on where we at and who we're around.
Yeah, I definitely agree that, like you said, defining what black culture is one of the bigger issues there, especially because of the fact that you can have people who don't kind of fit into a certain category or don't fit into a certain area or haven't been around certain types of people or certain probably socioeconomic classes and things of that nature. And I look at it from the standpoint of how people are being grouped together, right? And who's making that decision. A lot of people, like you say, will say, oh, it's being able to relate to hip hop culture or being able to relate to being from the hood or being able to relate to XYZ. And there's this, I guess, this greater viewpoint and this bigger viewpoint of what that what that should be. And that's the problematic part of it, because you still have these outliers, you still have these people who don't fit in that category, or even if they do. And not to jump immediately into that subject. I mean, but my thing is, when I was growing up, I grew up in the hood. I grew up, in a poor family, lower middle class, or in a poor situation, and then still felt that I needed to do certain things in order to get myself out of that situation. So I was looked at as different, or I was looked at as weird, or treated, like I didn't relate, even though I could relate. I grew up in the same neighborhoods. I grew up in the same situations as the people who were telling me that I was different. You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's still people who think that stereotypically we should be a certain way when we don't have to be that way.
Nice.
Well, Smooth, you said something that really was eye opening for me. Because I had this whole narrative in my head that I was going to say about my experiences being treated as weird or the awkward black girl. And it's funny because I had this experience at this program called College Bound some years ago. And I had this roommate she was an African American girl like me, and she was what we consider
What
goth.
up, Jamie?
and I consider that to be like a white people thing, you know. So I'm saying that to say I'm looking at her like she's weird, right? And so I'm coming back from some event we had, and she's talking about me and how awkward I am because I don't really talk much or whatever her thing was. She was like just going in on me. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, yo, you talking about me, you a black goth girl. And it wasn't until Smooth just said that, like, I have these perception of what a black person is supposed to be like, what a black girl is supposed to be like, you know, because I'm from the hood and she from the suburbs. How's she gonna tell me I'm not? You get what I'm saying? But we were thinking the same thing about each other, but she was more vocal about it. But just my perception and my ignorance, and looking back, I wouldn't have thought I was being ignorant because I'm like, well, I'm hood, so of course I know that, you know.
She was never hood. I grew up. Never hood. I don't know why.
No, but what
she
I'm trying
says
to
that.
no,
She
but
grew
what I'm
up in
trying
the
to
hood.
say is it goes back to that stereotype of even what we think blackness is. I remember.
I'm just saying. I grew up with you. I know you ain't hood. You said it.
Yeah.
Like, no.
So Smooth. I'm glad you said that because it made me really rethink that whole experience. So it's true that even we as black people have a stigma all our own.
Yeah.
About how we supposed to be. So wow.
Because I get, and it's oddly enough, even though the question is about how certain black people are weird, I get that I'm too ghetto. Immediately, just off of like my name, meeting me, how loud and boisterous I can be, and just my whole personality, I'm definitely hood. Like if you look at my family, and it's funny because out of my family, me and my sister Jazz are the hood ones. Nia and Nikki somehow grew up the same with us, and they the white girls of the family, especially Nikki and definitely Nia too. But then my brother's like in the mix in between. So we grew up in a household, and even that idealist or the idealism and them thoughts are the same way. Even though we're all educated, we're all we're all kind of nerds in our family, but like we a little bit me and Jazz over here and the rest of them over there, like a little bit because it's a separation. Even though we grew up like to Willie's point, he grew up in the hood, but he wasn't of the hood, but he was in the hood. If that makes sense. So it's how we look at people because I'm automatically as soon as you meet me, oh that's the hood one. And you know, stuff like they're the weird ones. Technically, Nye and Nikki are the women. Nikki a little bit more off than Nye, but I love her. But that's just, but like growing up in the household, you see how I'm saying like we all grew up together. But this is the one that we, if you met Nikki, I think Smooth met her at one point. She's completely like you would be like how the hell she grew up with them and just how she talks, everything. It's completely up with dumb people, but it's like I laugh at that because but then I also look at it like even like break it down to the point of certain things like the black experience. You're supposed to have watched the Fire Heartbeat. You're supposed to know how to play spades. You're supposed to want baked macaroni and cheese. And I don't eat macaroni and cheese, but like I'm hood, but I don't eat that. You know, but if she don't know how to play spades, so we got a problem. Like how you black and you don't know how to play spades. So it's so many things of what we call the black experience that not all black people experience because and it's like I say, I'm flabbergasted if somebody ever tells me that they never seen a Five Heartbeats. It's like what house you grew up in? Your parents have failed you. What do you mean?
Go ahead, Hank.
This is subliminal messaging, y'all. Is what the whole long and short of this situation is. We have always been taught that beauty is this long, luxurious hair and this certain look. We have been taught and told that anything hard, rough, rugged, that was ghetto, that was hood, that was what blackness is. Anything pristine, anything upscale, mowed lawn, and all of that, that is white. We always been taught that. Once you get to a certain age, stage, and of knowledge, you go, "That's the stupidest shit I ever heard of. Why do I have to subject myself to less than just because I'm black? Why should you get better than just because you white?" Until your ass moves out in them different neighborhoods and all of that shit, and you see these people ain't no less black. They just ain't ignorant. Like they just have a certain way to talk, a certain way to move. None of those things can be generalized. You can't say all white people is racist. You can't say all white people do this. You can't say all black people do that. My daughter just told me the other day, we scrolling through Netflix, she don't know who Malcolm X is. All right, there's the other daughter. Come down the steps, love. Full time dad. She said she don't know who Malcolm X is. So I was like, all right, we about to watch this Malcolm X documentary on Netflix. We watched the first two parts, and she like, so this is just like when they was killing the black people a couple years ago. Yes, they were just a little more brazen then. Like I know you ain't paying attention to the newspaper clippings where they have this is from the police report where they say this hateful man needs to be stopped. It's hateful when he says it, but when y'all pull a little black boy over and say we should blow your brains out like we did your friend, that's just cool. Yes, love. Here, you want to say hi to Willie? No, you don't want to speak today? Okay, she's not feeling you today, bro.
And I also feel the piggyback off of High Point. A lot of it is propaganda that we propagate, black folks. You know, stereotypes that we reinforce, lies that we reinforce to our own. You know, like I always have an issue with Tariq Nasheed. I'm gonna just use him as an example.
Oh, I don't like
Like for me, he sometimes he regurgitate some of the same tropes that was put on us from white folks and expect us to live it out. Like all of us not living that. You feel me? Everybody in the hood isn't ignorant. You feel me? Everybody like just like Sonny was saying about her sister. You feel me? When Nas said she hood, it's something like, nah, you not hood. Like everybody that grew up, you know what I mean? Because everybody that grew up in the hood ain't a gangster, ain't a tough guy. You feel me? Like that's totally false. You know, every female not a hoe. You know what I mean?
Every female ain't a baby mom.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And every dude ain't no player. We had those same awkward moments around women, around girls that every other race do. We all share the same human experience. You feel me? It's just that a lot of stuff is put on us, and then sometimes negatively we accept that. You feel me? Like we accept those stereotypes, and then we try to play them out. You know, we do it through our music, we do it through our movies, and all of that.
The shit that I was talking about. This shit get beat in your head that this is what you are, this is who you are.
Yeah, we don't like different. And we don't like different. And we meet. I know I've dated guys that I've dated this one guy that everybody was like, I didn't know how you was dating him because the type of female you are. And they expected because, like I said, I'm considered the hood one. He's super not that. On top of that, like he doesn't like hip hop music. He doesn't like any of that type of stuff. Like the music he listens to. Like he introduced me to movies with subtitles and different things that I wasn't used to, and I like that. I wanted somebody opposite to me because I'm hood. I don't need two hood people. Just well, I could, but I'm just saying like at that particular time that wasn't what I was looking for, and he was fine. And he used to always ask me like, "Is it like why you date me?" I'm like, "Because I actually like you. Like you're smart."
Like for instance, real quick, I'm gonna let Dane jump in. Back to my school reference. So, you know how you watch the white movies, high school movies, and it's like you got the pool table, you got the sports table, you got the golf. Like when I was at that school, that's how that shit really was, right? So I was sitting there in utter shock, like, yo, they really honest with themselves in these movies. You know, they really talk about themselves when they make these movies. Because this how they really are. So then when I transfer back to the blacks, school, predominantly black, and then I see us, oh, we got the cool table. Oh, we got the boom, boom, beatboxing on the table. The rap cipher going over here in lunch. I'm like, yo, this shit is we really living. Art imitates life and life imitates art. You feel me? So it's like we mimicking each other. Ain't nobody really, you know, everybody talking about individuality, but you really just, a lot of us in our community is followers, bro. And that's,
you gotta think about this though too, Smooth. How many times though, same situation, you just imitate what you see. They keep putting this in your face that this is what you're supposed to be. How many niggas lost their mind after Menace came out and Old Dog and Bishop, and how many niggas lost their mind and thought they was tough guys back in them days just because that was the wave and that was what it was to do. How many niggas is popping pills and taking all types of shit? That's how the episode I did last week when Neef is talking about his baby mom dies from the pills, and he got homies who died from the fake pills, because that's what's popping now. That's what we supposed to do, because that's what niggas is telling us. Like you said, that's the music, that's the videos, that's the culture, that's the shit that you're around you. That's the shit that they're telling you, yo, this is what you're supposed to be doing. They're not telling you like you need to be getting your credit score together. They don't even know what a credit score
But
is.
that's
You don't even know what
corny.
a fucking
Working a 9 to
IRA
5 was
is.
corny. Considered
9 to
corny.
5,
You're
working a
corny
9 to
dude.
5 is corny, yeah. Like they pump all of that bullshit in your head when you're a kid because you young and impressionable, and it's like, oh, my uncle and my cousin and my dad and my uncle, like everybody ain't doing shit, so why I'm gonna go off trying to do shit? Like that's that bullshit.
And it's all all from black people.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get Damien in on a conversation. We just was talking about either being or encountering black people who others say can't relate to the black experience, or people feel that they don't fit the mold of black culture.
Man, I don't fit the mold of black culture, really the norm, because I have one baby mama, one marriage. It's my first. Whoa, sorry, I forgot the second one. This is my second
I
marriage.
was about to say I thought we did this discussion before.
He's like that bitch dead to me.
he said that don't count. That was bullshit.
No, I totally forgot about her just right then and there. I forgot about
Carry the one. Hold up.
I forgot about the
I didn't
lesbian.
really marry her. That was a fake marriage. It wasn't real.
No, it wasn't.
That was a practice marriage, Sonny. That was a gimme. So no, but when I grew up, I think Willie can attest to this, because that's why I gravitated toward him, because we were like tech and anime geeks. I didn't have a lot of that in this hood. It's like they wanted to ball, they wanted to shoot dice, they wanted to do hood rat things as that little boy, and on the memes, they want to do stupid stuff. Play stupid games and get stupid prizes. Learned that a long time ago. So I kept my butt in the house, kept to the book sometimes, kept to my hobbies. I'm not going to name all of them because it's going to just make Sonny just hate me even more. And I think sometimes we could be our own worst enemy too, because we stereotype ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
My point exactly.
Because we can actually be like, they're black, they're humans too. But how many times have we seen our parents grow up, while we're growing up, saying that lock the doors because we're in a bad area or bad neighborhood, just because there's a lot of black people, a lot of activity around. Some of it could be true, but sometimes it could just be a regular stereotype that we get from the media and from other hearsay.
Well, I mean, and it's a stereotype that we give ourselves, right? I think a lot of the things that I kind of dealt with and battled with when I was growing up was kids and sometimes even adults who felt that, me having aspirations and goals and things that didn't involve playing basketball, being a rapper, stuff like that, out gangbanging, whatever the case may be, that it didn't involve those things that made me unusual, or that made me not a normal black person, or that made me, or like Nye was saying, being told that I talk white, or that I'm acting a certain way because it's not what other people perceive as normal. And it's because they've stereotyped themselves, and then they want to put imbue those stereotypes on others. And I remember one of the things that always stood out to me, and not only when I was younger, but also when I was an adult as well, was dealing with people who felt that trying to escape the hood, or trying to get out of poverty and things like that was a bad thing, that it wasn't something that I should be doing, because this is what's best, because this is where your home is, or this is where your where the love is, because people out there don't care, they're not going to help you, or they're going to mess you around, and having that mindset that there's no escape.
And and me and Willie, I've never seen Willie do this. I've never done it and never felt comfortable. It's to sag my pants. The way you uphold yourself in public. I didn't. Not
but,
me.
But no.
Here's the thing too, though, and we do this in society, do this as a whole, and we got to stop because we the main perpetrators of this too. We associate poverty with black culture.
Mhm, mhm.
You feel me?
Anything like it? Yeah.
Because a lot of black people, you know, in poverty, so we associate poor mindset, all that with black culture, and that's not necessarily true. You know what I mean? You could be in poverty, you feel me, but you don't have to have a poor mindset. Now you got people in poverty who have poor mindsets. See, one thing I was blessed with is my family. The majority of them, you know, we all, I don't even want to say majority, but the majority who loved me and took care of me didn't live in a poor mindset. You feel me? So yeah, I was around the gangsters, drug dealers, killers. Some of them was my best of friends. You feel me? Still to this day. But you know, I could sit next to a gangster, he'll tell you, nah, Clint ain't no gangster. You feel me? He a man first. You feel me? That's because how we were raised. I wasn't raised in that poor mindset. And I think a lot of us, we do too much in our so-called black culture. That's why I said we gotta define what is black culture. We associate poverty and poor mindset with our culture. And like we gotta learn how to separate and differentiate what's what and who's who.
Yeah.
And just because you live in a certain area doesn't mean that you're poor. Maybe it's just not right for you right now to leave leave that area. Maybe your circumstances have to keep you there. Maybe you have the right credit score or don't have the right credit score to stay or leave.
So
Virus.
this is the next thing, and this goes back to I think tonight's example is how are we reacting to those that we feel aren't normal or aren't fitting into what we think is black culture for us, or what we think is normal for us, you know, and maybe not so much now because most of us are in our 30s or 40s, but how do we get the next generation or the generation below us to better react and embrace or understand and empathize with the differences.
Well, I
I
think
think the
first we
internet
gotta.
answers that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
No,
wanted
go
to
ahead. Go ahead.
first.
Go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to first say that we have to, for ourselves, embrace our differences and the things that makes us different. I know for me, I've never admitted this before, but I think a lot of the reason why growing up, I fought as much as I did, or I started fights as much as I did, wasn't so much to protect myself. It was to protect my ego, to protect my, okay, I'm not a punk, you know. I'm gonna beat this girl. I'm gonna hit this girl, you know, because I gotta prove a point. Ain't nobody gonna bully me. No female's gonna bully me. It wasn't so much to protect myself; it was to protect that thought of I didn't want to be a punk, you know, and I was trying to prove a stereotype too. I was trying to perpetuate the saying like I'm tough too, you know, and it landed me in a lot of trouble, but it just was like I had a point to prove to other people, and I wasn't embracing who I was. It wasn't really until I hate to say it, Issa Rae came along that I actually accepted that me being awkward was okay, you know. And with this generation, I feel like yes, they have to accept their differences, but I kind of think they do.
Yeah, I was about
They
to say
do
the same
accept
thing.
their
I feel like now I
differences.
think it's better
They
off
embrace
for
it.
them. Yeah, because they're more of an acceptance culture. They're not really. I think this generation surpassed us to an extent as far as that is concerned because they're not as judgmental. They're more accepting. That's why we see them more accepting of the LGBTQ and the different things. Like some of these kids, I guess they're millennials, but they didn't call us millennials. I don't know. But like these younger kids the younger ones
Generation Z.
are more accepting of a lot
Yeah,
of things.
Generation Z.
They're accepting of their friend being transgender, bisexual, whatever, or so many different things. They just it doesn't bother them. That's it, and not to the point they have to say stuff. Yeah, there's still bullying. There's still those types of things, and there's still these stereotypes. But I think they're getting it right better than we did, because like I said, even as the adults that we are now, if you say something to us as a black person that it's just like what, we still have that reaction. We're already embedded into this idea of that's weird, that's different, you're not black enough, you speak too well to be black, those different things, or we judge ourselves like, oh well, this one's hood, this one's ghetto, that's like we see something that's ratchet, they ratchet, so like not like we're quick to judge people. And I know my daughter cracks me up sometimes because even her, like I'll say something about somebody in passing, like they walk by and I'm like, oh blah blah, why you? She gets upset and corrects me, mom. They're like, you don't know what they going through, but like, and it's I like what, and it throws me because like what are you like? It's not that deep, but to them it's that deep. Like let them be them. Right. Like why are you judging them? So that's why I said like I'm seeing it with these new 20-year-olds and younger that they're just like we're more accepting and less judgmental.
Yeah, it's like you
It's
said,
the
them young
internet,
person.
man.
Yeah, they fight for what they believe in. I remember my daughter being in middle school and she was fighting for kids that were transgender, that were homosexual, anything that she felt like should be fought for. She fought. I'm like, she's 11, but she knew then that this isn't right and that isn't right, and I'm not gonna turn a blind eye to it. And I just wish I could have been that brave in that. So
Yeah.
that yeah.
Yeah,
When
go
you
ahead.
was 11, you couldn't connect with somebody in Detroit who thought and moved just like you. You couldn't connect with somebody in Arkansas, in LA, in England, in Africa. You couldn't do that. That's how all of these things happen. It's the subliminal messaging of if we constantly make the characters in these TV shows that they grow up watching, one gonna be gay, one gonna be a trans, one's gonna be this, that, or whatever. It normalizes these things right to them. If you grew up and your mom and your dad wasn't there, it's normal for you to think that it's cool for a dad not to be in the house. If you normalized when you got normalized a two-parent household, you got normalized hugs, kisses, and all of that, then that's what's normal to you. Whatever you grow up in is what gets normalized to you. So that's what you perceive the world should look like. And if you 11 and there's transgender cartoons when you was 5, and now you just 11 and a little girl, a little boy, whoever is your friend, this is normal to you. So you are more compassionate to it because you can also connect with somebody. Me and Willie connected from across the damn country through he's listening to a podcast. You wasn't doing no damn podcast when you was a teenager and thinking this, that, or whatever. You couldn't relate to those different things. Or you could relate to them, but you had no idea that there were thousands and millions of people out there thinking exactly like you.
Sure.
You know what?
So
And you know what the thing is that what I'm about to say, the culture. Lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Clint. It'll come back to me.
My bad if I missed your train of thought. My
No,
fault.
no, it was me.
we so polite
I'm a
and nice today, trying to act so black.
that's because I'm about
Oh,
to
that's what I was going.
y'all about,
That's what I was going
cause
to
y'all
say.
about to get mad at me
So
because I
I'm
don't agree
sorry.
with
I didn't mean to
No,
cut you off.
no,
I
no.
don't agree with nothing y'all just said.
There we go. Come on, baby.
I feel like this is the most judgmental era of all time. You feel me? I think more people. The only difference is you got more voices in the pot, so you just hearing from more perspective. I don't think we've came as a long way at all. You feel me? Especially I got a daughter that's 10 years old, right in the middle of elementary. Yeah, they had some of these conversations, but it's still them side eyes that we gave when we was younger. You feel me? It's still the same backstabbing and talking. It's even worse now with social media, with the internet. In
It's
my
on the Summer
opinion,
Jam screen now.
yeah, I
This is
feel
the
like
thing though.
this is why suicide rates are higher. You feel me?
See,
You
this
know
is
what I
what I'm
mean?
see, but think about this
Suicide
though
rates
too.
just don't go higher because everything got better. It's because a
Nah,
lot
think
of
about
more
it like
kids
this
are
though.
more depressed.
A lot of kids don't get to have these conversations with other depressed kids and find out that it ain't just me. I didn't even know nothing about killing yourself. Cause back when I was growing up, wasn't nobody talking about killing their damn self. But if I get on Instagram right now and we use a certain hashtag, I can meet all the kids who thinking the same shit. So that's more
Yeah.
so what it is. To what you saying is that's our generation still clashing with them. because the kids are coming and telling us some shit, and we like, what are you talking about? Like, y'all got a unisex bathroom in the elementary school. Like, when my daughter told me that, it's like, you can't use that bathroom. I don't give a fuck what the school tell you. You ain't going in there. You go to the girls' bathroom where there are only girls because you are 9. Like, I don't want to hear none of that shit because I know what I was thinking when I was 9. Like,
That's what I was gonna say to Hype's point about culture. Nobody knew in acceptance. Nobody told us that it was weird or different. As we have to normalize certain aspects of our blackness or our lives. Because you can grow up poor with another poor person, you would not know that you're poor without somebody else that told you that you were poor.
Unless you felt poor.
Listen,
Your
I
perspective-
I used to
Well, I think comes out of being
I
secure.
knew I was poor.
Yeah, me too.
No. Some people's perspective is different though, because
I feel you, Willie.
I had a person ask me that. I had a person ask me that a few months ago. They was like, "How did you?" Because I made the comment. I'm like, "Well, I was poor." It was like, "Well, you think that now that you didn't know that then." I was like, "No, yes, I did."
I knew I was getting hand-me-down clothes. I didn't get no Christmas gifts.
And exactly, it was like, and I didn't have to wait for somebody.
But some people's
When you walk into a store and acting with a list of groceries and you got to ask for credit, you go. I'm sorry. Like,
but
some people's not aware of that.
It's about what you're noticing, right? And I think that's the thing is that so I kind of agree with Hype and Sunny and Nye, but I'd also kind of agree with Smooth. The part I agree with the three of them is that I feel like there are more people that are able to connect and relate to now. The internet, social media, things like that have allowed us to connect with our people, to connect with people who look different, act different, doing things differently, or even if it's the same, but you are able to, you have a bigger, wider audience that you can connect with. But to Smooth's point, I think too is that people are also using that as a way to notice things that they don't like and be able to capitalize on that with people and be like, oh, this is not normal. You're still doing things backwards. You're following these internet people, or you're doing these things that these people are showing you on TV and that kind of thing. I know from being in school with my kids, seeing other kids, and it's not just the bullying. Sometimes it's just kids clashing, thinking that things should be a certain way. And my kids didn't even go to a all black school. They went to a predominantly black school, but not an all black school. So they got to see a lot of different variety of cultures, of attitudes, of mindsets, and still clicked up, still got into spaces that they felt comfortable in and then felt differently about the others. Did they understand that others could be different? I think they did a little bit more than what I kind of could say about our generation. But did that completely change? I definitely don't agree that it's completely changed. Is it better? Maybe. I think it's better from the standpoint of I don't think they feel so alone as much as we did in the past. When I was coming up, I almost kind of felt like I was the only one thinking like this, especially because I'm hearing so many people against me. When I was in, I want to say 5th, 6th, maybe 7th grade. I think it was 5th or 6th grade because it was that transition between elementary and middle school. And I remember coming up with this thing where I would tell people that I'm a super nerd, that I was smart, I was outgoing, and that I could be different than them because I was special. Not realizing that there's other people out here that felt the same way, that being smart was cool. Not dumb, not being dumb or acting dumb was the way to go. Feeling like you could be different from everybody else. You don't have to be hood. You don't have to be ghetto. You don't have to be whatever other terms we were using back then. You don't have to be this way and just live with that. That was not an exclusive thought of mine, but now kids know that there's other people that they can relate to out there. And I think that's helpful. I think that's moving I would say it's moving the needle. That's how I feel about it. It's moving the needle towards the empathy, the compassion that's needed in order to stop the whole thing of you're different, so you're bad. That's how I look at it.
And you know what? To what Clint was saying earlier, about people, the internet, about the judgmental people. You got people out there just hating as well. People join groups just to hate. People go online, it just no reason, just to spew their nonsense and their rhetoric because something's different. So it is a point to Smooth that yeah, people is more judgmental people out there like that. They're not closeted no more because they got this thing called technology. Everything's online.
And to answer the question directly that was on the screen, I think first everybody got to learn to be comfortable with themselves. That's how we improve how we react and interact with. As soon as you're comfortable with yourself, you feel me? You're not judging nobody else.
Right.
You know, you feel me? Because you have no need to. You understand? So I think the more of us, and that's the problem in our community, a lot of us aren't comfortable with ourselves. We're trying to be instead of being.
Yeah.
How many of us actually know this is the question I was going to throw to you. How many of us know who and what we are? That's the problem. How many people just go with the crowd? They just go with the flow. We talked about that before as far as the voting shit. Well, we all grew up Democrat, so I guess we voting Democrat. We all grew up dropping out of school in the 6th grade, so I'm dropping out in 6th grade. We all grew up doing whatever the fuck it is, so I guess that's just what we doing. How many people actually know, like Willie said, like, nah, like I really like learning. I really like going to school. I really like playing ball. Like, how many people really find something that they like and they understand that this is what I am and who I am? How many people can look in that mirror and make them strong evaluations of themselves? Not that many of us.
But then
And that's the problem.
People who are
and that's the exact problem.
Copy. That's why I'm with you.
But then there's just people who are uncomfortable because they're still developing and finding out who they are at the same time. Some people are getting comfortable with the notion of trying to find themselves who they really are. And they can't be comfortable right now because they're still trying to find out what makes them tick. So they can't be comfortable around somebody else because they don't know what makes them tick.
They might even know who they are and they don't like that answer.
I was about to say that, Haim. I was definitely about to say that. There's a lot of people that are not comfortable being their authentic selves because they understand exactly who they are, but they just don't want to deal with
hard to admit
what that comes with. Because if you are
what I say about that mirror, Sonny.
It's the hardest place to look, right? It's
scariest place in the world.
Yeah,
it's the scariest place in the world.
I would go with the scale, boy. I tell you,
and it's a lot of people, and that's why a lot of people are what do they say? They say somebody that comes at somebody like, so if I was to come at Smooth hard about something about him, it's because I see the same thing in me, and it bothers me.
Yeah,
it's always when you come like, and that's why it's always a question of you.
That's
if
the
you
same
going
shit
that
you do with your kids,
and it matters that much to you. It's something in you that you see. You see yourself in that person that's problematic for you, because then it makes you see it's the ugly truth.
It's amplified.
Yeah,
that's the same shit you do with your kids when you go, oh shit, I said that same shit when I was 12.
No,
I gotta cut that off.
That happened to me one day. I was talking to a fellow tourist and they were saying something to me, and I was like, oh my god, this is how I am. Like, because I say it, but it's a whole nother thing to actually have it back on you. And I'm like, oh yeah, no,
that glass break on
like
you.
especially with your kids, like he was saying. Like, it's certain things. My daughter, she's more vocal than I was about a lot of things. That she really is. And sometimes I had to catch myself because she'll say something and I'll be like, oh my god, I thought that, but I never would have said that. Or if she being disrespectful, I mean, she's 21, but if she being disrespectful by voicing her opinion like that, you know, but like,
my daughter is a constant reminder of me, and it's like, like, who the did you learn this from? And I'm like, I know exactly.
So let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask y'all a question. Who ultimately? Because one thing in our culture, I feel like we run from is parenting. the failures of parenting. And we don't really talk about that because we don't want to be so-called, like you said, disrespectful to our parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's this dude, Brother Polite. Maybe he said one time, uh, he was like, y'all, he was like, we're living and holding on to these certain traditions from some of our great grandparents who were ignorant
Mhm.
and who were made to be ignorant. Yeah, they were strong and they survived the struggle, but a lot of them wasn't learned. A lot of them wasn't, they. I guess we're gonna do this, and you mentioned this in the group chat, Willie. A lot of them was raised on so-called survival.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what I mean? They what?
Right.
So they didn't really know how to parent. And there's a lot of parents out here. There's a lot of young parents out here who parents failed them. And I think that's what's wrong going on in our community as well. So how do y'all feel like parenting has on our culture and how we interact with each other?
That has everything to do with it. That's the
I'm about to
foundation
say it
that you
does.
got. If your dad wasn't equipped with the tools because his dad wasn't equipped with the tools because his dad, it's a snowball effect. All I can teach you is what I know. All I can show you is what I know how to show you. I can't teach you the shit that I don't know. I just at work the other day. I've been Muslim my whole life. You asked me about some pork chops. I can't show you how to make these drinks. I can't do it. I have no idea. I have no reference point. I'm a fish out of water with these. But you asked me about how you start fasting or how you read or any of that type of shit. I can give you the whole book. So the whole problem is always that because you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes those individuals who become like, oh shit, you recognize it and you see it, and then you go, I gotta change this shit because I don't like when I was 12 and these like it's that same shit that you look at your kid and go, oh shit, this is 96 hype, this is 2003 Willie. Like you start to recognize that same shit that's going on with you, and you feel like, yo, I gotta change this shit. I want to change this shit because, like you said, you holding on to some shit that came from a place of not ignorance as far as like they was just dumb. It was just a lack of knowledge. They weren't
Yeah.
equipped to get that knowledge. My grandmom dropped out of school in the 6th grade because that's what they did back then. She got
Mhm.
married and had 10 kids because that's what they did back then. Now, I never met her because she passed before I was born, but I have no idea how much education and all of that type of things that she had. But I'm quite sure with 10 kids and a husband, she got survival skills like a motherfucker.
Yeah, but it's funny too because I think that too, as parents, especially like we said this on many podcasts before, when we take what we learn from our parents and we either try to do the opposite because we didn't like it, or we try to instill what we learned, right? And sometimes while trying to be opposite of our parents, we end up being just like them in one way. So you may not do this, but you absolutely doing this shit. And
Still
I
become
think,
them.
and I think that and I think I watched something a while back and they were talking about, are we ready to sit down with our kids and hear how they felt about our parenting? Because as us growing up with our parents, they taught us certain things we didn't like. You didn't tell your parents, hey, I didn't like when you did this, not unless you just had the balls of somebody that thought that you was about that life, and your parents
Of a mountain
quickly
lion.
smacked you down to back down to hell. But I'm saying, like, we never got we most of us never got the opportunity to say, hey mom, I think you could have did this better. I think you could have did this. You didn't do this. Like a lot of us do that with our dads, our S&C fathers, when they finally come around. We get that chance, but like with mom, you don't. You might not get that chance unless she's the absentee parent, and then you get at some point tell her like you wasn't shit, you didn't do this, and blah 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 whatever. But like, are we ready to be parents sitting down with our grown kids and them to tell us how they felt about our parenting and what we didn't do?
I think this is the way I look at it too. Like you did say, sometimes we either want to emulate what they did or get the hell away from what they did, right? And like my daughter, a lot of people would say, "Oh, you were a progressive parent because you're trying to be her friend and you her mom, and that you're not her best friend." And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And I'm like, I'm very much trying to be her friend. And people thought I was straight bugging Because see, look, I hate it. Yeah, they think I'm straight
Yeah,
bugging.
me and my mom still ain't. We
Me,
ain't never gonna be friends.
right, and that's how I was taught. It was like I ain't your friend, I'm your mom.
That's I'm my mother's child. My daughter was absolutely not my friend.
But what I'm trying to say is
I
that
tell my
like
daughter that all the
me,
time. Kai, you are
parents,
not my. We are not cool.
Like when we grown, we could be friends,
Right.
but as a child, no, you my child, I'm your parent, and you tip.
Let's give her a chance to finish because we're gonna
Like,
run out of time.
I know.
Give her a chance to finish.
Don't get it wrong now. Mama had to let it smack down sometime. But no. But what I'm trying to say is that for me, it was important to me. It was imperative for me as a parent that she be able to come to me and connect with me. And I know a lot of people think that's me bugging or something, but that's what I needed because that's what I needed when I was a child. That's what I wanted, you know. And in the same respect, like you said, you try so hard sometimes to be so the opposite that you are just like you know, there'll be times my daughter come up to me and want to hug and want to kiss, and I'll be looking at her funny like, "What you want?"
But then my daughter tells me that I was unapproachable. She couldn't talk to me. I'm like, you could talk to me, but you was gonna react like this. I probably was. I ain't even about to hold you.
I totally like. I feel where Nye coming from. My fault, Willie. My fault. Like I feel exactly where Nye's coming from because I was that child. You know, I wanted to speak. I wanted to talk. You know, I felt like my dad. My dad shut that shit down early though. Like nigga, don't you you feel me? Don't you ever think we that cool on that level? You feel me? So I fully agree because you want your kids to be able to come talk to you, but it's a slippery slope for me because sometimes they might hop in when they know damn well they're not supposed to hop in, and like I had that issue with my daughter now. Like don't. You know what I mean? Like I give you little way to speak, but don't ever think you could just hop in and speak when you want to speak on something you shouldn't even be thinking about speaking on.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Dame, did you have a comment real quick before
Yeah, actually, I was gonna give Sonny a third option. Sometimes we try to do something totally different. You know, you said either we try to parent like our parents did, or we steer clear away. Here's a third option. You try to steer clear away, still go back to your parents. Because I tried to give my daughter some leeway when doing certain things. I'm like, all right, let's try to do some things different because I remember how I felt the way my mom raised me and stuff that I didn't like. I tried to change with where I parent with my daughter. But some things you have to go back to the originator of how things were getting taken care of. Like, nah, this ain't working. So this is what mom had to say. Just go back to being raised how I was raised with certain aspects, which I thank my mom for it, but I try doing things without the trauma.
Exactly right there. What you just said is what Smooth was talking about, though. If you continue to revert back to those different things, if everybody does I'm gonna revert back because I ain't got the answer to it, that's how you start to hold on to those same ignorant things. Not saying that that's what you did, but that's how that snowballs into that.
Yeah.
It's a subconscious thing that you ain't gonna realize it until it just happens.
I want to address that too, Willie.
Yeah, Roddy says someone's got to be the parent and someone's got to be the child. If your friends, the kid will disrespect as a kid.
But that's not necessarily true because even like in my situation, I love my daughter. If she watching it, she gonna yell. But at the end of the day, like I want to say I mirrored my mom to certain extents, like very much. I love you. We can have fun, but I'm your mom at all. Like I'm not your damn friend. And that's our relationship. It was, but for me, we did have a parent. I think all kids go through it. They go through a part where they choose that they think that they can disrespect you, and you supposed to put them back over that line and be like, nah, we ain't doing that right here. But I think it doesn't matter if your parents, it's levels to it. Like to Smooth and Nice point is how you do it. Yeah. And the letting them know, but at the same time, I think all kids go through a phase where they want to be disrespectful. They want to, they have to feel it in their bones to say something crazy.
And test the boundaries.
They have to test it exactly. Like you see it with the father and son situation. All sons and fathers go at it. Like moms and daughters go at it at some point, and it's just getting through that patch and understanding that we gonna go through shit. I still love you, but what we're not gonna do is this shit. And I need to correct you because we're not gonna make this a pattern.
But like Smooth was saying, it's a slippery slope, and like it is it is a give and take type situation. Like being that me and my daughter had the relationship that we had, the friendship thing. Sometimes, I want to strangle her. Sometimes I'm like, look, I'm your mama, and you gotta have it this way. But because I opened the door for that in a way, I had to be careful what I asked for, kind of, sort of, sometimes.
Yeah. So to Sonny's point and Smooth's point about the levels and about how you do it, that was one of my things. My parents weren't. Well, I think they wanted to be the you're not, we're not friends. You don't have a say so. You don't this, you don't that. But in a way, they did open doors for me and my sister to have our comments. They did have a way and a method in terms of how we were able to kind of voice our opinion, but without being disrespectful, to still understand the authority that we had over us. And that's something that I was able to take to my kids when I started off, because I felt like I wanted to see my kids raised a certain way. First thing I thought of was like how my aunts was and how some of the parents that I saw that were very authoritative, very strict, because I was like, well, I see how these people come up and they seem to have it together, so I got to be on my kid's head. And then I started to realize that every kid is different. Every kid needs a certain level of leeway, a certain level of strictness, a certain level, and it's not, you can't parent every kid the same, even if they all live together. The thing is that you have to take a step back and work with your kid, understand who they are, what they react to, what works, what doesn't work, and make the mistakes. And that's the thing. A lot of us are afraid to make certain mistakes, or afraid to allow a kid a little leeway, because then you're like, oh, they're gonna disrespect me, or feel like a kid is gonna not succeed if you're not on their head, that kind of thing. And so what I started to find was that some of my kids needed me to open the door a little bit for them, crack it open. And what I did was what Dame said, I set boundaries. It was like, it wasn't like, oh, tell me what you feel and give me the God's honest truth. I wasn't like that, or be my friend and cool, we're gonna do this. It wasn't like that. But best believe I'm at a level with most of my kids where it's like they feel comfortable enough to talk to me. They feel comfortable enough to feel like when I'm either disciplining them, giving them advice, having fun with them, that I'm the parent, but also I'm comfortable enough with them to be able to understand their point of view, to understand their viewpoint, or to allow them to have a viewpoint to a limit. You know what I'm saying? Either my authority or my what's the word? My rules and my regulations won't be broken. I won't fall back and say, I succeed to whatever you want to do. I'm allowing you to do whatever you do. They know that's not me, but they also know that I'm flexible enough to understand that this isn't working for you. And if this isn't working for you, it's not working for me either. I don't want to sit here and be banging my head on trying to force you to be a certain way when I know that's not the way to your success. To Roddy's point, he says he sees a lot of parents that don't have boundaries, and that's the thing. When you're, and I think that's what we always assume when we hear somebody say, "I'm trying to be friends with my kids." First thing we think is you're not giving your kids any boundaries, or you're allowing them to do too much. I think it's something that's one of the stereotypes, black people have about white parents and their kids, is that they allow their kids to do too much and allow their kids to overstep and be perpetual line steppers. And that's the thing. If you don't set boundaries, you won't have control. But I don't think that we have to be so inflexible that we don't understand at the same time what's working for our kids and what's not. Not that we have to stick to one parenting style. That's the other thing. I lightly helicopter a couple of the kids. I free roam a lot of most of the kids, but I also have other parenting styles that I use with my kids. And that's the thing. If you're not recognizing that, or if you don't even know that that's a thing, that's a problem.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off what you said. Like how I said, neither my mom and dad, they broke up, right? So neither my mom or dad, they was like, nah, we'll never be your friend. But to your point, they parent me completely different. You know, I had more freedoms with my pop. My mom was a little bit more strict. You understand? So one would think like my mom would be really, really like, nah, definitely not your friend. You feel me? But it was really my dad, the one that gave me the most freedom. You feel me? At any point to within any point in time where I would think that I was close enough, like we was buddies, he would check that shit immediately. You feel me? And to y'all points about raising, I'm the oldest of 9. So y'all know I already know. You feel me? I'm the oldest of 9. The youngest one is a junior in high school. You feel me? So I used to look at my mom and like, yo, why you ain't doing what you used to do to me?
That was her.
I had to understand. I had to learn and understand now. Like, she grew as a parent. You know, my mom was pregnant me at 16. She was a baby herself. My dad was a baby too. You feel me? So that's why I go back to, you know, we have to learn one thing, Sonny, you mentioned about us sitting down with our parents. Well, my mom sat down with me. That's why I always call my mom the realest. You feel me? My mama sat me down, told me her mistakes, told me where she messed up at. You feel me? That's why I love her to death. That's why that's my ace. You feel me? Because my mom was that real. She'll admit when she like, I know I was wrong. You feel me? I know I did this wrong. I didn't know. And that's why I always say sometimes you can't get mad at somebody about what they don't know.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah,
they just
Roddy
don't
mentioned that too. He said kids talk to them as they age, and that's the thing. We and to your point too, Smooth. We gotta adapt and grow with our kids. We have to understand that how we raise them at 2 and 3 is not how we need to raise them at 16, 17. Right? What we do to them doesn't have to be that we do to them younger. Doesn't have to be how they're treated when they're older, especially when you're a very strict parent. When you know that your kid is learning your lessons, that they're doing what's right, you have to kind of give them some leeway, or you have to kind of give them some freedoms, or you have to kind of give them some understanding. Because if you don't, you're just going to keep fighting those boundaries. They're going to keep fighting those restrictions. Because if you're treating them like the 3-year-old, they're not going to stand for that. That's the thing, and you're just going to end up dealing with more problems.
I agree with you, Willie, and I agree that with my daughter, initially in the beginning when she was younger, I used to light that ass up all the time. I did. And then as she got older, I started doing it as like a case-by-case basis type of situation. Like, okay, I don't have to whoop her butt all the time. Maybe I could take this away, or maybe just try it a little different. Because at first I was doing like my mom taught us, like, you whip that butt and that's the end of it.
Today 16, 17, 18, still whooping butts.
Yeah, you go up top.
I think I was similar like 9. I think Missouri was probably up until, because she wasn't a bad kid. It was like when she was a toddler, she got beaten every day. Like I felt like she needed to beat and go to sleep. That was her life. And then eventually I got to the point, I would say for her, it was grade school. I didn't have to beat her as much. And even as so then it was a conversation of what you did wrong, punishments and stuff like that. And it's like, well, if you do this is how my response is going to be. So if you don't want my response to be this, then don't do this. Like something simple as clean your room. So if you don't this is why my daughter she absolutely hated what I used to do to her. Like, so you didn't clean your room, all right, so I'm gonna clean it. And when I clean it, whatever's on the floor is in the trash.
My mom.
Very simple. It's not, I'm not calling you to pick shit up. And it was to the point where my son was a toddler trying to save his little toys in her room because he in there with me, just randomly picking up his little toys that he had because I was throwing everything away. And then to the point where I was throwing my stuff away. If she had something of mine or like took a shirt of mine, all that stuff is going in the trash. And then I'm like, room clean. And she would be livid about me. And to the point where then she started cleaning her own room. It was like, so it wasn't a beating. It was just let me throw everything away. Even though it was kind of productive because I had to buy her some more clothes and, stuff like that. But like I got through her that way.
Versus clothes, putting them up.
So I was doing pick and choose battles.
Yeah. But that's a good point. Picking and choosing battles, and that's something that a lot of parents don't do. They want to battle everything. They want to battle everything all the time, and that becomes problematic because then you really hurting yourself at that point. Not to say that you got to give them leeway on everything. I'm just saying that sometimes you do have to take a step back and be like, is what they're doing so bad that I got to jump on their neck and strangle them about it? Just because they walked out and the floor wasn't swept completely. They swept the floor. It wasn't.
It's already had a petty parent. So
instead of saying, oh my God, I gotta cuss you out. I gotta go up beside your head and all that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna add an extra day of chores, or I'm gonna do such and such to make you pay for that. But you don't have to. I don't have to kill you over it. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
I was a petty parent. I ain't even gonna hold you. I did petty shit because
Go ahead, Ike.
It's funny how this always happens. This is kind of what we was touching on this episode 91. It just came out today.
Where?
So How to Hustle podcast with Hyman premieres tomorrow 2 p.m. on the GFT Radio Network. Sonny, that's your sister over there. Make sure she gives me 5 stars on that phone before she leaves the house tonight.
You Uber now?
We don't accept 4. It's funny because we was talking about is anything sacred, and through the midst of that conversation, we started talking about the child-parent dynamic from being this perspective of the child and the parent. And it's like there's a line there. There's a do not cross this line barrier. And we have to respect that line. It's cool for you to get your opinions off. It's a certain way to say things. It's a certain tone of voice that you have when you're saying things. And as soon as you go one optic over that, you have now crossed the line, and now dad is in the room and that's your ass. Mm-hmm. Also, this is something we always talk about, allowing the individual to grow. You got to trust the work that you did as a parent. You can't hold against your child what they was doing at 15, 16, 17 when they 21, 22 now. Same way that you want somebody to allow you to grow and allow you to change, you got to have that same thing for your kid. You have to allow those same things for anybody else. You can't hold shit against your brother he was doing when y'all was kids, and now y'all asses is adults, and now he got kids, and now he's looking at shit different. Or your friend, or whoever the fuck it is. Like, you have to allow those things. You got to constantly be reevaluating your game, because like Willie was just saying, you can't be parenting with the same core values from the 2-year-old to the 6-year-old to the 12-year-old. Like, you got to start to evaluate who they are now. What do they need now? Because like you just said, every child needs something different. This one needs a kick in the ass, and this one needs a hug. And you have to recognize that this is the kick in the ass and this is the hug. You can't just go kicking everybody in the ass, because you kick this one in the ass and they might crumble up into the ball.
Yeah.
Someone was just telling me about that, about having an adult child, and how I got to trust that I did get it right somewhat, like I didn't mess her up too bad,
No, that's funny because I look at my daughter now with my grandbaby and I just be like, okay.
They also gonna make mistakes. They're supposed to make mistakes. Your ass made mistakes. This was another episode that I did. It was about having the first child, because everybody talks about the female postpartum and nobody ever talks about what the dude is going through. Our shit is on a mile a minute, just like y'all's is. That's why I said 5 stars only. I saw the look what you guys just gave. You gotta always be evaluating the situation. You gotta start to look at shit differently. Like, man, me and my wife was having a conversation, and I'm just thinking, like, damn, you was 22 and a half. Like, because now I'm thinking back on it, and it was like that was a lot for me to put on you at 22 or at 21, because you didn't thinking that when your ass is 23. Like, you thinking you equipped for every fucking thing, and you ain't ready for shit in some cases, because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, no, that the point you just made about the making a mistake, that's another one that I think a lot of parents make a mistake at, is thinking that they're going to protect that kid by discipline or by yelling or by whatever the case may be from every mistake that the kid is ever going to make, and thinking that every mistake that they make is the be all end all of their life. And, like you said, that's the thing. We gotta remember that our kids are going to make mistakes. That's something that, when I said about the free roam or free range, I said free roam. I meant to say free range parenting. Some of my kids are free range because I know that they have just enough of everything that I've tried to teach them. Me and their mother have tried to teach them in order to make it out there and be able to bump their head. And I won't feel like, oh, you know what, they're going to fall over and, not be able to be successful. I think that they'll be able to make some mistakes, hit some road bumps in the road, hit a roadblock or two and come back and figure it out. And if they can't, I'm here for you. I got you. And know that they can come back to us and say, you know what, I made this mistake and I gotta, I know I need to figure out what to do next. And it's like, all right, well, let's walk you back through it. Let's figure this out. And I think that's one of the things we got to be able to embrace is our kids need to make mistakes. If you shield them from every mistake, you're going to literally have to cradle them the rest of their lives. You're literally going to take care of them the rest of their lives. If they don't know how to fail and then come back and succeed eventually.
Life is ask Nemo. Ask Nemo. Nemo had to go out there and do some shit to come back and be good.
Ask Kurt Franklin and Brian McKnight how that's working out.
You're like a dream come true.
You know what?
I don't know the reference, but I'm gonna take your word for it.
I know the Kurt Franklin reference. I know about the Brian McKnight.
Right.
I want to go back. I just want to we talking about weird, right? Mm-hmm. And like I always say we all weird in our own way. Everybody's weird. You feel me? So that's why I don't ever judge nobody on their weirdness. But I remember Joe Butt had a song, really like a freestyle, him and Slaughterhouse. And at the end of his verse, he was talking to his son. He was talking about his son. And he was like how his son came up to him. He was like, Dad, I'm weird. And he asked his son, like, one, why do you say you weird? And how do you know you weird? He said, for one, I am weird. I know I'm weird. And I'm all right with that. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Because I'm me. Mm-hmm. And nobody else can be me. But only me. And Joe at the end of it, he was like, I could have died then because I did my job as a parent. And that's how I look at my daughter. I want my daughter to be her. I don't want her to be me. I don't want her to be her mama. You feel me? I want her to be individually Amila Gabriella Wilson and whatever weirdness and greatness that encompasses. You understand? So as far as this conversation about who should judge whose blackness or how we should feel, like who cares? You feel me? At the end of the day. Who cares at the end of the day? At some point, you'll realize, you may come across a situation where racism may occur, and we'll all form like Voltron. You feel me? We all form like Voltron. But at the end of the day, we break apart into our pieces. You feel me? Into our own separate entities and be who we are. You feel me? Find your tribe and bask in that glory with your tribe. You feel me? We all don't have to be the same. We all don't have to talk alike. We think alike. None of that. You feel me? So if anything I can leave to anybody on this earth, and especially number one, my daughter, is be you, find you, love you, and forget what everybody else got to say about it.
Exactly.
That's something my kids, yourself. Period.
Yeah, that's something my kids will tell you. I actually had that not the same conversation, but a very similar conversation with them. Don't try to not be weird. Go ahead and be weird. If somebody says you're weird, that just means that you're not being them. You're not following suit. You're not trying to conform to everything that everybody wants you to be. It's okay to be weird. It's okay to be different, because the thing is, like you said, Smooth, you got to be you. You have to be in the authentic, authentically yourself. You have to be able to stand on that too. Because the thing is that if you tumble every time somebody calls you different, what's the purpose? What's the purpose, right? Your success could literally hinge on the fact that you're different from everybody else. Your success could literally hinge on the fact that you think a little bit out of the box, or that you're not following the trends. Because the thing is apparently it wasn't working. So you got to be able to do you, embrace your weirdness. I think Dan, you was about to say something.
Weird is perfectly fine if that's who you are. If that's who you are,
I was gonna say that You know, Clint could have ended the show with his talk, his
Oh
speech.
yeah,
What he
Denny,
just said.
my man went in. He was like Tommy when they
I'm
had
like,
DP
man,
in the building.
yeah, but the thing is, some people don't know how to
He
be weird
came.
and not be accepted. We all want to be accepted by peers and by people who we admire. So it's kind of hard for some people to distinguish the two and try to separate the two. You can be weird, you can still be accepted, and be different at the same time.
For sure.
I think that you always you have. I feel like this. A lot of, like I said, a lot of people are uncomfortable with who they are, but at the same time, you can't. And that's what I have. It's a red flag for me if you have to be liked by everybody. Like you have to be. Like you feel like you have to be accepted. I don't want to be accepted by everybody. I'm not for everybody. So I stand comfortably being myself unapologetically. And you either gonna like me or you're not. And I'm okay with you not liking me. I've had multiple people, and I just talking to my sister and them about a particular situation where a guy was like, "But you don't care that people don't like." I don't give a damn. They don't pay my bills. They don't do nothing for me. So if they don't like me, that's on them. They're losing out on a great person because I'm a dope ass person. If you don't give me the opportunity to allow me, and there's a lot of people that are friends with people that, and it's like it's people that are people around people that can't be themselves around. Your representative is 24/7. No, what you see on this podcast, what you see on my social media, what you see in person, I'm the same person,
And
unapologetically. So I don't care if you don't like me. You can. I know that everybody's not gonna like how I am. I got that. I'm okay with that. And it's a lot of people who have to be okay with that. And if you are one of those people that has to be accepted by everybody you encounter, you are a problem.
some
Period.
people just don't like you. I mean, because you can have the same likes and dislikes with this
Shit.
individual, and they just do not like you for some odd reason.
There's a lot of people don't like me
No,
because other
not
people
you.
don't like me,
Not,
and I'm okay with that.
no, not talking about you, Sonny. Not talking about you, Sonny. I'm talking about in general. Everybody
And
loves you, Sonny.
I always,
Unapologetically sounds like a good name for something, a blog or something. I'm not really
Well,
sure.
mine is unreservedlyme.com.
There you go.
I always say,
Somebody just punched me in my back or something. What the fuck
I know
happened?
it seems like you're going through it over there, brother.
No, right.
Seems like
Oh,
somebody
they,
just
Fucking
came to Dr.
shoulder,
People's
the
elbow.
shoulder blade, yo. What?
You
This
just
is a
got
macho man
suplexed or
off the
something.
top rope.
But I always say sometimes, like to
Shit.
Sonny's point, a lot of people don't got the respect for me to even respect their opinion. You feel me? Like, so of me, like who are you to think I value your opinion
That part.
of me? Like,
I
I don't
believe that
even.
was episode 55 of the How to Hustle podcast where I said something similar to that.
Know what I mean? That's crazy to me. Now, where I do disagree with Sonny, everybody don't get the same version of me. Nah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I can't. Everybody can't get the same version of me because everybody don't deserve
Well,
certain
if you're not around
versions
me like that,
of me.
you're not gonna get the whole version of me. You're gonna get bits and pieces. Social media, if you on my social media don't know me from a can of paint, never been around me, you're gonna go off of social media. Whatever you get from that, but you're not gonna know the whole me. But if you're around me 24/7, you're gonna know. Like if you're somebody that I rock with to that point, you're gonna know me, and that's just who I am. But like it's I say that like not necessarily I'm the same person to everybody, but I am just myself. I'm not gonna put on the front and be this certain way towards you. The only front I'm putting on is at work. Like I gotta make sure that I'm not coming in as an angry black chick and all this rah rah rah. I'm gonna be professional and do my job.
But I'm
All
I
I'll say
agree
to
to
that
what
one
y'all
is I
saying
treat
about him.
everybody fair. I treat everybody equally, but I treat everybody fair, but I don't treat everybody equally. You know what I'm saying? You get certain respects, like you have certain amount of respect for certain people, then they get a different part of you. But if all you know me through a social media, all you will say is I ain't got a lot going on. You don't know any of my personal business by being on any of my pages, and I got 1,000 of them.
I treat all strangers the same and keep my friends differently because all your friends know you who you are and you know who your friends are. Some people can't take the truth. Some people can't take Smooth and Sonny's how they speak to each other honestly, openly. If you want to know the truth, Don't talk to Sonny. Don't talk to Smooth.
That's terrible.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just being real.
So what
They
you're
gonna
saying
tell
is
you
don't come have sex with
I'm a
Sonny
lot
twice
nicer
a
than when
month?
I appear. I don't put stuff in the bowl and wrap it up and give it to you sometimes. Not all the time, but I do it
I'm her
sometimes.
sister, y'all. I'm her sister. But what I was gonna say was, for me, and this isn't like trying to do a shameless plug, but somebody gave me. I do poetry. I do spoken word, and somebody gave me the name Braveheart. And at first, I wasn't ready to receive it. And it wasn't until I thought about it a little bit, and they explained why they gave me the name, and they were saying because you're so vulnerable, you're okay with being transparent and true to who you are. And I was like, really? I am? Because I don't like sharing stuff. I don't really like being vulnerable. But then I thought about it, like, and what you were saying about being
She doesn't like to share.
unapologetically you, like in that same token, yes, I am at the age that I am now, still sometimes accepting the fact that people are not going to like me. No matter how nice I think I am and how sweet I am, some people are not going to like me, and that's okay. And I have to be okay with me, even if you're not okay with me. So I'm learning to embrace that. But what I'm saying that to say that just accept you for who you are is what I would want to tell the audience. If I could tell y'all listeners, whatever that is. If you're the girl that always has to wear makeup, I'm sorry to use that as an example, but if that's who you are, that's who you are. Just be who you are, and that's what I'm learning in my 40s. I'm learning.
You said you do poetry. My man throws a poetry event every month.
Oh,
We had to line something up, see if we can get you on that.
Okay, you in the
Smooth.
5 stars? I got you.
Yeah, I'm about to say you ain't never nigga been here for over a year, man. They never mentioned it or nothing to me.
I saw you posted something about the spoken word situation. I got something for you. I'm gonna call you tomorrow.
All right.
Maybe 2
5
situations
stars,
for you.
Okay.
All right, HYMPE. It's hype. It's not hype. I'm not geeked up.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. It was a great conversation, great topic. Appreciate everybody's input and insight. Nye, go ahead and tell the folks where they can find you.
Oh, Koi Magazine on Instagram, COY Magazine. No offense, fellas, it's a personal development blog for women, but y'all can chime in.
For sure.
Wow, this sounds like discrimination. HR, get on that.
Right, I'm getting on. I'm sick of it. No, I'm playing. Also, I am Sunny _D, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and TikTok. Also, we already said it. I'm reservedly me. It's the blog.
For sure.
What's going on, good people? You already know it's your boy Smooth. You can catch me all the damn time on Twitter at eTrentonGroomie. My blog, kingstruth.com. I gotta get back on Snap. I've been slipping on there. King's Truth. Shout out to my boy Al. He just lost one of his closest friends. So you know what I mean. Love, bro.
Smooth forgot to mention this. He's on Instagram now. Shout prayers to your man Al though. You already know what it is. It's at I am hype on Instagram and Twitter. That's at I am hype. It's HYMPE. It's hype. It's not hype. I'm not geeked up. We only accept 5 stars, not 4. So Sonny, make sure your sister gets on that when we log off here today. Custom Hustle World, Custom Hustle Co., custom jackets, jerseys. You design all of that situation yourself, and we ship in and out of the city, and out of the state, out of the country. H2H Cleaning on Instagram only. That is my cleaning company. Dame.
Yo, it's me. Shillo21 on Twitch, Checkmate21 on TikTok, Shillo21 on Xbox Network, and another level up on Instagram. Holla. Will.
It's your boy Willie Styles in the building. Get at me everywhere at Willie Styles on IG and Twitter, and Willie.Styles on Snapchat and TikTok. Find me over at stylesradio.com, listening to the new SZA album, listening to the new Babyface Ray. Babyface Ray is killing it with the Mob album. Make sure y'all check that out. New West, Mount Westmore, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, Too Short, and E40. Make sure y'all check out their new album. They just dropped a new album, I think last week, so make sure y'all check that out. You can see all that over at stylesradio.com, williestyles.info. For all my links. Thank you all for joining us.
That name is hard.
No doubt. Thank you all for joining us. We will see y'all later.
Yo, it's your boy Dame here.
Hey guys, it's your girl Sunny D.
Yo, it's your boy Smooth from the GFT Radio Network.
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles in the building.
Join us Mondays at 10 p.m. live on Twitch, YouTube, and our Facebook. And if you miss us, don't worry. You can catch it on our website, gftradioshow.com. And if you feel like talking to us every day, join our Facebook group.
At Join the Conversation, the group where you can discuss all kinds of topics.
Catch me also, Fans Perspective, Dope Sports Show. Holla at your boy.
You can cop some merchandise over at our store, teespring.com/stores/GFT Radio. You can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, masks, and even more.
Next time on GFT Radio, what are we talking about? Join the conversation to find out.
Make sure you get at us on GFTradioshow.com for all of our audio and video play.